NALIS. Ring the bell down there. Ring the bell for culture. Ring the bell down there. Ring the bell for freedom. Ring the bell down there.
7:22 in Trinidad and Tobago, appropriately the theme for Calypso History Month. The bell rings in memory of the passing of the former president, the president when he passed away of TUCO. But we are in the month of October, Calypso History Month. We are joined by the Education and Research Officer of TUCO, the Trinbago Unified Calypsonians organization. She is Megan Sylvester, to discuss a number of the projects that she is really organizing. The secondary school lecture series, which is part of the activities for this month's observance, partnership with NALIS, public engagement seminars, the celebration of Calypso History Month with the consulate, Trinidad and Tobago Consulate in New York, and indeed talking about Calypso, the New York experience, interviews in partnership with WAC Radio. So a lot happening, Ms. Sylvester. Very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
So tell us about these activities and how they are going to be rolled out.
Okay, so it's October and it's Calypso History Month. And you know, it's important that the public knows that we have 4 major zones in TUCO. And so we have decided to go to those 4 zones. You have the Tobago zone, you have the North zone, you have the South Central zone, and you have the East zone. So as the Education and Research Officer, what I have done is that I have contacted some of the schools across those zones, and we are liaising with the visual and performing arts teachers in some of the schools, and we are going to the schools online. So it's a virtual experience. Now, we have been doing this before, and so this is just a continuation of this outreach program that we have with the secondary schools, because it is so important to TUCO that we reach the young people right where they are. And so what we're focusing on this year, of course, is the theme, the bell rings, and especially dealing with brother resistance. Introducing brother resistance to some of the young people, because sometimes what we have found, because we've already started doing it, because of course we are towards the middle of October, we have been going into the schools and speaking to them about who brother resistance really is. What is the link between rhapsode music and calypso music? And then speaking about the legacy that he would have left and the contribution that he would have made to the art form and to culture in Trinidad and Tobago.
So that's one element of the activities. And tell us about the partnership with NALIS and how that is going to roll out as far as the public benefiting from that partnership.
Okay, so what we have found is that a lot of persons would have seen this iconic figure in Brother Resistance with the hats and with the African outfits and know about him. They may be a little familiar with some of his seminal hits. But we found that it became important to engage with NALIS, to have this public engagement seminar series, where we will be going again in the virtual space and doing these seminars for the general public that would come to NALIS, because NALIS has the different libraries across Trinidad and Tobago. They have Facebook pages and online platforms that we intend to use to disseminate the information about the bell rings, our theme for Calypso History Month, and focusing on brother resistance. Again, similar to what's happening in the secondary school lecture series, where we focus on calypso and rhapsode and look at the synergies between those two arts.
And tell us about this collaboration, celebrating Calypso history with the consulate, the Trinidad and Tobago Consulate in New York. How is that going to work?
Well, of course, it becomes important to demonstrate to the diasporic venues that Calypso History Month is taking place. We know that there have been many places around the world that continue to celebrate Calypso History Month with us. So what TUCO has done is we have decided to partner with the consulate in order to ensure that persons within that New York space have a sense of Calypso History Month and the focus that we are placing on it this year. What we're going to be having is a partnership in terms of Calypsonians who have migrated from Trinidad and Tobago, who currently live in New York, and those who would have been, because of course it's going to be an online event, and those who currently live in Trinidad, there's going to be that kind of virtual experience where we're going to be having interviews, we're going to be having performances. All right, and so persons should look out for that. That is going to be on October 29th. Now, it's going to be live, but of course it's going to be recorded and made available for the general public. And so that becomes important for us to really get into that diasporic space to speak about Calypso, especially in the month of October.
And that collaboration, the New York experience with the interviews, is that going to be all involved with the collaboration with WAC Radio? Is that where that involvement comes in as well?
Yes, because what we want to do, we want to then get this content to the Trinidad and Tobago public, and indeed other publics across the Caribbean and international, because the WAC platform is worldwide. And so this is where the partnership really takes place. So there's going to be the hosting of the show at the consulate in New York, again, a virtual experience. And then we go to partner with WAC to then disseminate that information widely.
So there's as we've said before, there are a lot of things taking place within your portfolio as Education and Research Officer of TUCO. Where do people have to go, whether it's the TUCO Facebook page or if there's a website and so on, to get all of this information, just to remind themselves or to mark it on their calendars, or however they do it, to bookmark whatever particular event is coming up? Where do they have to go for reminders of this information?
So thank you for that. So we're doing that publicity campaign with the education and research projects, and indeed all of the activities that we have for Calypso History Month. We invite persons to go to our TUCO Facebook page, and of course, as well, the Instagram page. We are constantly updating our Calypso History Month calendar, so keep looking out for these new and interesting activities that we're having. Of course, we plan to have competitions, we're going to be having shows. Of course, Extempo is a seminal part of what we're going to be doing as well. So keep on looking at the Facebook page and the Instagram page for updated information on our projects for the month.
And before we conclude, Ms. Sylvester, Calypso History Month is by definition a time to celebrate and highlight, but there must be a tinge of sadness, because just by the theme, the bell rings, because it is in remembrance of the passing of your president, Lutalo Masimba, who just passed away, just the 13th of July, just a couple of months ago, just about 3 months ago. There must be a tinge of sadness to it all.
There definitely is. And there's a lot of nostalgia, because when I'm actually doing the presentations, which I started in secondary schools, and I'm playing the music and I'm discussing the lyrics that he would have written and his work with the Network Rhythm Band, it really brings, an overwhelming feeling of sadness to a certain extent. But, I am buoyed definitely by the excitement that the students are showing to learn about him and to ask questions about how he would have written a song, what was happening at the time in Trinidad and Tobago when he wrote his songs, what was the impact of the Network Rhythm Band, and what was the impact of Brother Resistance as a solo performer as well. So, it works out, it really comes together and culminates into a really fantastic experience, disseminating the information to the young people of the nation.
He really lives on in his work, no question about it, and especially in this Calypso History Month. Ms. Sylvester, we want to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Okay, and thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. As we come down towards 7:30 in Trinidad and Tobago, let's take a look at the traffic situation once again, this time in Davie via the cameras of traffictt.com. A bit of rain as well. Police vehicle going by. They're not stopping to go into anybody's home as far as I can detect, because no demonstrations there. The demonstrations earlier this week were in Barrackpore. No sign of what is happening in that area. But looks very calm and very, very easy going on this Thursday morning in that area as we go to the break.